But here we are for another project's Euler problem. So this is number 18. I couldn't be bothered doing number 17. It's a bit fizzly for my liking, although I did do it many years ago. So today we're just looking at triangles, and as the problem says, what we want to do is find the maximum sum when we're going down a triangle, and it gives us a nice toy example as always, and then a slightly beefier example, and as the problem says, you can brute force this one, but maybe don't. And even if you do, problem 67 basically won't let you. Now, because I've done this all quite a long time ago, I can still remember what the trick is for not brute forcing it, so I think that's what I'm probably going to go for here. So the core idea was that you take your 75 and you add it to your 95 and your 64, and you remember both of those things that you've done. Then when you get to this row, you look at your 17 and you think, well, I can add the value of 75 plus 95. You look at your 47 and you've got two choices, so you can either add whatever 75 plus 95 is, or whatever 75 plus 64 is. And then again with 82, you gotta go look at, you can only choose that one. And then in general, for numbers that are like on the inside, you'll have two choices. So for this one, I can either add the sum going all the way up this way, or whatever like the maximum I've found for this row at this point in the position where 65 is. And so how I think this kind of translates to Scala is, I think we can probably store each row as like a map where you've got an index of 0, 1, 2, whatever, and the values are just the numbers in the row, and then we accumulate a similar map with index values, but with the same sort of indexes, but the values are like the maximum for whichever row you've reached, if that makes sense. And so then the question becomes, like, given this accumulated map and a map that just represents a row, how do we combine them to get the new accumulated map? So I think the way to do this is, the way that overall this is going to work is we're going to sort of do a fold left, as is tradition, I suppose, in me doing Project Euler solutions, but it works. So you've got your accumulated values, and then you've got your sort of current row. Now, maybe I shouldn't use the same sort of... Maybe I should use like value classes or something, so that these are obviously different, because it's so easy to mix up arguments and stuff. But anyway, and then what we want to do is, I guess, for the current row, for each key value pair in that current row, we want to choose two possible candidates. So we can do the sort of accumulated stuff, dot get or else, or, well, I suppose I could do get or else 0, or I could just do get and kind of use a list. Yeah, let's do that, and then flatten it, sort of thing. So, so we've got the one that's the same index, and then the one that's like the other choice is the one that's like next along. So it'll be like that. Wrap this in a list, flatten the list, and then take the maximum. And then this is complaining because it's a map, so we want to return key value pairs like that. And I guess maybe I should use max option here, but I know that this is always going to be fine, and this one won't exist for some of the rows, or so yeah, I think this is probably fine. Okay, and then the other obvious thing we need to do is, how do we pass the triangle in the first place? So the input is just going to be, for me, it's a string, and maybe this is a bit of a boring bit, and maybe I should have just done this ahead of time or something, but it is part of the problem solving process. Is like, how do I turn my raw data into something that's usable? Anyway, so how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to split it on, I guess, new line characters. Scala has a split function, I hope. It does. So you can tell I've not done these in a while, right? Okay, cool. And then for each of these, we need to sort of pass the row into a map. So let's do that. So pass row. Input again is going to be a string, and I reckon we can just split these guys on just the empty character. Looking at this and looking at this, yeah. And then we want to turn them into ints. And I think that'll be fine for, you know, because in the real example, you got stuff that starts with like 0, 4 here, or 0, 1 there, 0, 4 there. I think it will be fine. I'll check, I guess. And then we want a map rather than, I guess, an array. So actually, yeah. So I think split returns an array. Let's just explicitly write down the return type here because it's always just good practice. And then we want to do, I think, we want to do zip with index because we care about the indexes. And then I think I think it puts the index second. If I hover over that, it does, yes. Okay. So we need to flip those round. Is there just a swap? There is a swap. Cool. And then turn it into a map like that. And I think that should do us. So we should be able to pass, I guess, the small triangle. So let's see what happens. And there we go. So we've got 3 there. Yep. Yes, that's all looking good to me. And then once we've parsed our triangle, as I say, we want to fold over it. So what is the 0 state? Is it an empty map? I don't think so, because we need to be able to get a value, otherwise we'll hit this like empty whatever. So let's just make sure we include 0. And then let's just combine stuff like that, and that should just give us, well, it won't give us the final answer, it'll give us like sort of the maximum values here, 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 and here. And then what should happen is we should get 23 in the third, and at index 2. The third position, but because 0, 1, 2 at index 2. I still get this horribly confused. I mean, there will be a mistake somewhere, right? There always is when I do these. There you go. There's a mistake. So for some reason we've got an empty dot max. So I can believe that I've just got my that it should be sort of -1 and like the real value. Instead, I'm always doing sort of off by 1 errors. Let's see if that works. It's done something, but that's still very wrong. They are all 0. I think I need to add values, right? So we need to do this here, because it'll just be sort of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 all the time. Yeah, that'll be it, won't it? Cool. So at index 2 we get 23, and that's the correct answer. And then I guess to sort of get the correct answer out of that, we should get the values, and we should take the maximum of those values like that. So that should be 23. Yep, result 23, cool. And then if we use the other triangle, then it should give us some result. So that's running, what, 50 milliseconds? It doesn't tell you where the answer is. I suppose I could do max by to know which index, but it's not really important, I suppose. And it's quite interesting as well in that we sort of haven't, I guess, shown that. Anyway, that's correct. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's one of those ones where it's just like sort of 4 one-liners, which is pretty satisfying. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, see you next time, I guess. Alright, bye, bye, bye.